There we go. Okay, so spoilers. Star Trek Discovery, Unification 3. So I'd mentioned previously there was kind of a very obvious nods to Voyager episode, and they did a kind of whole nods to DS9 episode. Well, this is 100% nods to the Next Generation episode because it's a sequel to one of their stories.
Yes, and also a nod to Picard as well.
Yeah, there was Picard references with the old
Coat Malat.
Thank you. I only call him Kwisatz Haderach, but that's June, so that's a completely wrong franchise. Yeah, I mean, So this started off, and it was very clear from a few minutes in. It's the courtroom drama episode. That was obviously coming. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really, really loved this. Ironically, I think this arc is a slow burn. I'm aware of what I've just done. And I think that's kind of working because actually we haven't had... I mean, the first episode was a bit actiony with Michael and Book. But there's not been... We haven't had much in the way of more... I think it's... And again, it leads on to what I was saying before. I think this is... They're really cleverly and have extremely well written moved from where Discovery began, which wasn't very ideal Trek, to absolutely quintessential Trek to me, with what they're doing and how they're doing it. And wonderful clip this week, literally lifted from Unification 2 or 1.
I want to say 2.
I think it might be 2.
Because I think it's the speech he gives towards the end of the episode when they're going their separate ways.
And obviously it's Nimoy in Discovery, which is fantastic. I mean, brilliant. How awesome is that? And then you've got the B plot, because there's always a B plot, isn't there? And we were saying, was it on the video or was it just between us?
It was it was just between us because it was last week. Someone made a comment to the end, which is, for God's sake, just make her a lieutenant.
Just already. Promote Tilly already. Why is she still an ensign?
Yeah, which was ironic because a few weeks previously, one of the things I'd commented on was how there was a very obvious absence in everything Discovery so far around the Vulcans and the Romulans.
Yeah.
And part of me thought, well, perhaps they're doing that because they're just trying to move away from that whole Michael Burnham is Spock's sister that we never knew about, and that's why she's so important from the first season, which I know a lot of people were not happy about. And,
Mary Sue.
Yes, and
what a load of old shit.
Does this episode kind of deliver on both of those observations in fucking spades?
Yeah. It's funny enough, the name them.
Coat Malat.
She the outfit really reminded me actually of I think it's Miriam or Olivia Diabo, one of those, a Diabo, in Clone Wars. She's got the green skin and kind of the almost headdressy hood. I don't know why, it really put me in mind of her. Was it an updated version of their outfit from Picard? My memory's terrible, I'm not going to remember that kind of detail.
Generally, because the only real Coat Malat I remember, of course, was Legolas. Obviously not Legolas, but unfortunate parallels abound. And he didn't really have any kind of headdress. I do remember...
Oh, I know who he is now, yeah.
Yeah.
With you.
I do remember in Picard thinking that the Coat Malat were very Bene Gesserit.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
In their imagery. And...
probably what I call them Kwisatz Haderach.
Yeah. And certainly the Coat Malat in this episode kind of maintained that Bene Gesserit imagery as well. So, yeah, I think it's quite possible.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't necessarily particularly remember headdresses per se.
Yeah. We were also saying, do we think Guinan could show up? I don't recall any kind of, apart from they clearly live a long time, any kind of edict on just how long-lived her species are. Also, you've got the whole Nexus thing to consider. So, does that make a difference?
I I mean, because wasn't she already something like between 700 and 900 years old at the time of Next Gen?
Well, I don't know is the honest answer, but
I'm sure someone out there will.
somebody will know. Our 16 viewers, we've gone up. We have 16 most weeks now. We've gained 6. How marvellous. So I've got 10 friends and 6 randoms. Or just 16 friends, I don't know. But
Or 16 randoms.
now some of them are friends, I'm fairly certain. Yeah, I don't know, because obviously she was around in Time's Arrow, which is what, 18 something.
Yeah, something like that. But she was already,
And she was already
I
old
think,
then.
a few hundred years old
Yeah,
then.
and then obviously around in 24th century. So that's 500 years pretty much for a start before you even then go into anything else. So, Christ, A, it's fiction, and B, it's Star Trek. They can do what they want. If Whoopi's up for it and available, they make it work, don't they? It's as simple as that. So yeah, that would be interesting. But I just thought, yeah, I just really love this week. There's not loads you can say about it because it was a court and drama, so it just got into the nitty gritty and it kind of got under Michael Burnham's skin a little bit, and it was kind of, I think it kind of called her out for
everything to date.
Well, yeah, but for playing situations and basically playing things to her own end, whether or not that was right. And like life really. How many lawyers, policemen are there, walking the streets today who justify their actions whether or not they're strictly right, moral, or to the letter of the law,
because it's for the greater good,
which is just Albus Dumbledore then, which is a whole other thing. But that was the point J.K. Rowling made with Dumbledore's and Grindelwald's past, was the fact that they
they're essentially two sides of the same coin, aren't they? They
Yeah,
just have different methods in their
but when they were younger and were a couple and a partnership, they considered it was, killing muggles, for example, could be for the greater good. That kind of thing. That's what I'm saying. It's spin, isn't it? It's you convince yourself of anything. I used to have a boss who said that man's greatest gift was self-delusion. And I think he absolutely was right. You can completely justify and convince yourself of anything. You really can. If it's what you really want. But there'll be that little gnaw deep down inside whether you know it's really right or not. Okay, this got deeper than I imagined. But yeah, loved it. Really, really loved it. Don't want to go on for too long tonight because it's like 10 to 10. I've got to be up at 6 and we've still got Mandalorian to watch and review. But yes, an extremely worthy third part to. And the interesting thing about Unification is it's one of 2 episodes I've got a really fond spot of, Unification 1, because my very first trip to Orlando was during season 5 of Next Gen, and basically I had it was, in fact, think about it, it's the only episode of Star Trek I've watched literally on first broadcast. Normally it's like a video release a month after it's been on in the States, or as these are, I watch them several hours or a day after, they were on CBS Access or whatever it is. Whereas Unification 1, I was in my hotel room just outside downtown Orlando and watched it broadcast live. And it's the only episode of Star Trek I can ever say that about. So it's kind of got a special place, in my heart for that. So yeah, so I saw the title card just before we played it, and I got really excited. Like, oh my god, what's this going to be? Where's it going to go? And yeah, absolutely fucking delivered. Loved it. Anything else before I press stop?
Yeah, I think just the fact that, because again, I'll try and keep it short because we have one other episode to get through. I think this episode was incredibly well acted. It finally did the one thing that so many people have bitched about Discovery either not doing or doing really badly, which is it gave us character insight and development into actually a whole bunch of characters, not just Michael Burnham. We got some great insights into Tilly, some great insights into Saru, some great insights into other characters. Yes, I'm that boring. And I think it was also just really, really nice to have a slow burn episode that didn't rely on space battles or sort of phaser fire or infiltrating bases. It was literally just characters and cultures butting heads, and it really, really worked. And I am actually becoming genuinely excited to see where it's going to go for the rest of the season as a result of this episode.